The only growth America has had over the past 1 year into Joe Biden's presidency is in inflation, crime, and his own disapproval ratings. Joe Biden right now is the most hated US president. Around 60% of Americans disapprove of his policies. Around 75% of Americans believe their nation is headed in the wrong direction. There is hardly any section of the American society that is contented with Joe Biden's way of handling the pandemic and economic crises. You see, Biden himself has already set the stage for a grand comeback of former President Donald Trump in the White House. And today we will be looking at those 50 reasons why Donald Trump, the former US president, may soon become the current president of the US. Hi and welcome. You are watching TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group, and I am your host Sanveer. In this video, I will list the reasons why former President Donald Trump is going to make a grand comeback. Let's begin. Number 1. Rising inflation. The annual inflation rate in the US accelerated to 7% in December, a fresh high since June of 1982. Number 2. Surging homicides. Thanks to defund police and Black Lives Matter campaigns, crime and violence kept America engulfed during the last year. In November, the FBI reported a 30% increase in murders across US cities. Number 3. Support to critical race theory. Biden's war on white Americans, from schools to government institutions, has made him vehemently unpopular among the majority of Americans. Number 4. Immigrant crisis on the southern border. The crisis has become so dire that Biden is now resorting to implementing Trump-era emergency policies to stave off the tensions on America's southern border. Number 5. Pandemic mismanagement. Despite having developed vaccines, the US has lost more lives to the COVID pandemic under Biden's presidency than under the Trump administration. The United States this month recorded the greatest number of infections despite 65% of the population getting fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Number 6. Gender identity crisis. The US administration is now imposing a gender identity crisis on children by manipulating their beliefs and opinions. Number 7. Transgender women in sports. Women athletes are already up in arms against the Biden administration for propping trans athletes' participation in sports events meant for biological women. Number 8. Transgenders in the US military. Even the Supreme Court of the US had agreed to the Trump administration's popular decision to not allow trans Americans to join the military. Biden came and reversed this decision. Number 9. Green agenda. Biden's stupid green agenda is taking a massive toll upon the economy of several states. Millions of jobs have been lost along with billions in revenue. Number 10. Disastrous infrastructure bill. The $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill will only see around $200 billion spending on roads, bridges and railways. Rest will go towards fulfilling Biden's woke agenda. Number 11. Rising homelessness. Despite rising budgets, the US had around 553,000 homeless people in 2021. Number 12. Sabotaging Congress. The Biden administration is hell-bent on red-inking the filibuster rule to rush through the draft legislation that is opposed by Republicans. Number 13. Rising discontent among Democrats. Democrats themselves are despising Joe Biden. Recently, top Texan Democrat Beto O'Rourke declared Texas a no-go zone for Joe Biden and insisted Biden not to endorse him during the midterm elections. Number 14. Racism against white Americans. In Biden's USA, being white has been made a new taboo. White children are systemically being asked to feel bad about them being white in the name of mitigating racism against blacks. Number 15. Rising anti-Semitism. 1 in 4 American Jews say they've been targets of anti-Semitism in the past 12 months. Number 16. Afghanistan fiasco. Joe Biden literally reviewed the Taliban in Afghanistan, left NATO in the lurch, and pushed millions of Afghans into poverty. Number 17. The Ukraine crisis. Tensions are running red-hot in Ukraine. Biden insisted on admitting a reluctant Ukraine into NATO, which has pushed the region at the cusp of a full-blown war between Ukraine and Russia. Number 18. A weakened Quad. Biden strengthened the Quad on paper but diluted its core agenda of countering China's hegemony by raising issues like human rights and climate change. Number 19. Pro-China policies. Biden's presidency came as a boon for China. Biden stopped the USA's war on China's IPR theft, Confucius Institutes, and unfair trade practices. Number 20. reined in strong ties with India. Within months of Joe Biden's presidency, the US Navy carried out a freedom of navigation operation in the Indian waters near Lakshadweep Islands without New Delhi's prior consent. Number 21. Withdrew support for Taiwan. The Biden administration on several occasions has stated its commitment towards the One China policy, highlighting its highly ambiguous policy towards Taiwan's defense in an event of war with China. Number 22. Dispute with France. The AUKUS defense pact between the United Kingdom, the United States and Australia was a great initiative, but Biden spoiled it with his horrible execution, which resulted in straining the USA's ties with France and the EU. Number 23. Biden's bid to revive JCPOA. Trump knew the JCPOA deal was a blunder. It was a blank check for the Iranians who were anyway pursuing developing nuclear weapons with or without sanctions. Biden not only attempted to revive this deal but also let Iran develop strong ties with China. Number 24. Jeopardized ties with Arab states. Biden launched a war on Saudi Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman and halted defense deals with the UAE almost immediately after assuming power. This frayed the USA's relations with Arab states that continue to harm the American interests in the region to date. Number 25. Supported Islamists. From reviving the Taliban in Afghanistan to resuming funding for Palestinian terrorists, Biden's support to Islamists has remained unparalleled across continents. Number 26. Spoiled peace talks with North Korea. Trump was a great diplomat. He met North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un thrice to broker a peace deal between North Korea and the South. Biden came and killed that process. Number 27. Almost ceded the Arctic to China. Biden had plans to give up the entire Arctic continent to China. Biden invested nothing in building icebreakers for America, while China strengthened its presence in Arctic EU states and Greenland. Thankfully, Russia successfully stonewalled China's attempts of usurping the Arctic. Number 28. Lost Latin and Central America to China. Biden's policy paralysis on issues related to Latin and Central America led China to easily establish its stronghold in the region. Number 29. No envoys in the Indo-Pacific. The Biden administration has not appointed ambassadors in the most sensitive region of the world today, which is the Indo-Pacific region. Countries like India, Japan, Australia and Indonesia are still waiting for Joe Biden to assign senior diplomats to these countries. Number 30. Undermining Abraham Accords. Biden began harassing Israel and the UAE right after assuming the presidency, which turned out to be his unsuccessful attempt at jeopardizing the historical peace deal between the two arch-rivals. Number 31. Lost Horn of Africa to China. China recently deployed its special envoy to the region, while the US lost support from nations like Egypt, Ethiopia, and Eritrea due to its support to Tigray terrorists. Number 32. Failed to shift supply chains out of China. This Christmas, shelves in the US remained empty due to the USA's continued over-reliance on China. Trump began the campaign of reducing the USA's reliance on China, but Biden stopped it brazenly. Number 33. Revived the Morocco-Algeria conflict. Joe Biden, along with his friends in the EU, revived the Morocco-Algeria conflict by emboldening radicals in Morocco. The two countries are today baying for each other's blood as a result of Biden's efforts. Number 34. Weakening East Asian alliance. Trump was bridging relations between South Korea and Japan in his bid to form a joint front against China. Biden showed no intentions of continuing these efforts after becoming the president. Number 35. Unrealistic approach on Myanmar. Biden imposed sanctions on Myanmar as soon as the military overthrew the civilian government in Myanmar. This knee-jerk reaction helped China strengthen its grip over the nation. Number 36. Trump's dreams of Space Command. Trump launched the Space Command to organize, train, and equip warriors to support Spacecom's missions. Biden mocked the program and removed it from the priority list. Number 37. Anti-CCP campaign. Trump was the first leader to wake up to the CCP's threat. Trump launched investigations into China's WTO protocol violations and launched a trade war against China, among many other things which he did to hurt China. Number 38. Trump strengthened the USA's alliance. Quad came into existence in 2012, but it was only during Trump's tenure that it developed its muscles and scared the hell out of Beijing. Number 39. Trump made the USA a net energy exporter. Thanks to Trump's realistic and business-oriented policies, the US became a net energy exporter during his 4 years, ending the country's reliance on Arab countries and the OPEC regime. Number 40. Trump for the middle class. Middle-class family income increased nearly $6,000, more than 5 times the gains during the Obama administration during the Trump presidency. Number 41. countered China's information warfare. Trump declared China's media outlets as an entity owned by the Chinese government, thus putting an end to China's information warfare using its bellicose wolf warrior journalists. Number 42. Killed China's 5G dreams. Trump initiated the Clean Network program to promote non-Chinese telecom operators while decimating China's Huawei at the same time. Number 43. Dismantled China's 17+1 initiative. The Donald Trump administration grew close ties with small Eastern European nations in its bid to weaken China's grip over the region, and today we are witnessing the region rising in arms against China on the Taiwan question. Number 44. Dismantled China's BRI. It was Donald Trump who pressurized the nations across the world to see through China's debt trap scheme and reject China's easy loan offers to avoid financial hardships. Number 45. Reduced tensions with Russia. Trump was pragmatic on Russia. Unlike Biden, Trump developed an understanding with Putin for the greater cause of countering the rise of China. Trump devised a strategy to exploit the tensions between Russia and China for the USA's advantage. Number 46. Destroyed liberal media ecosystem. Trump minced no words in calling out American mainstream media's hypocrisy and literally destroyed their business in the 4 years of his presidency. Number 47. Strong trade ties with Mexico and Canada. Trump signed a USMCA trade deal with Canada and Mexico, which prioritized USA's business interests over anything else. Today, Mexico and Canada are openly flouting USMCA norms by exploiting Biden's sleepwalking over the issue. Number 48. Took on Big Pharma. The Trump administration lowered drug prices for the first time in 51 years. It also launched an initiative to stop global freeloading in the drug market. Number 49. Make in America. Trump administration brought industries to America. America gained 7 million new jobs during the 4 years of his presidency. And finally, number 50. Launched a war on Islamists. The Trump administration killed top ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and freed Syria and Iraq from the clutches of ISIS. He also acted tough on safe havens for terrorists in Pakistan and halted military and economic aid to the nation.